that no one wants you to get on.
Here we are at Stockport Station. It's a station I know very well. I used to live in Stockport in the 80s in my vain attempt to become a rock and roll star and plug into the Manchester scene. The Manchester scene didn't get as far south as Stockport, and so it didn't quite come off. So I love Stockport Station. And we've come to Stockport to catch the 9:22 Stockport to Stalybridge train. Once a week, you can't get back. There isn't a once-a-week Stalybridge to Stockport train. You can get from Stockport to Stalybridge, but you cannot get from Stalybridge to Stockport without a great deal of changing. And this is a so-called ghost train. And I'm going to be catching as many of these trains as I can, and also going to ghost stations, stations that are only open once a week, for the sake of what? Actually, the Stockport to Stalybridge service did used to have some function. I remember a pal of mine would get on at Aberystwyth, change at Shrewsbury, and then change at Stockport and catch this Stockport to Stalybridge train, and then go home to Huddersfield. And he looked forward to getting to Stalybridge because there's a real ale bar on the station. So it was a viable through route. I still don't see why it isn't part of a viable through route from Wales and the West Country up to Yorkshire. Otherwise, you have to go into Piccadilly, hack across to Victoria on the metro, carrying all your luggage. This is a perfectly viable route that people would still use. Hello.
Hi.
You're waiting for the Stockport to Stalybridge train?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm also an active member of the Friends of Reading South Station. I've got a day off, so what better way of hoping to promote the cause and to get the support of some other passengers on the train today.
Reddish South is the first station on the line after Stockport. If you lived in Reddish South and travelled to Stalybridge, there would be no way back by train unless you went in a big circle back to Manchester and waited a week to take the same train. This man was more than a friend of Reddish South.
It's just purely for pleasure today, just to pass through parts of Reddish that I used to, in the old days, do a bit of train spotting. So, just a bit of nostalgia, really.
Yeah. But why carry on operating such a pointless train? Because it's not easy to close down a railway service. The law says a train company needs to consult widely, which is a costly and bureaucratic business. Closing a line is unpopular, but letting a service decline to the point of imbecility is legal, easy and cheap. The Stockport to Stalybridge service costs only £2,600 a year, which is just £50 a trip. Trains like this, which exist only to avoid the embarrassment and expense of closing the service completely, are often known as parliamentary trains. But who travels on them? So here we are. There are 3 guys back there and 4 guys here, so they're including us. There are 9 people on this train. Hello. We're making a programme about ghost trains. And we wondered if you were on this train for train enthusiast reasons, or whether you actually need to get from Stockport to Stalybridge.
Rail staff, and I've been over here for a few years, so just having a look really. I used to work trains through Stalybridge several years ago. It's a beautiful morning, done a walk, we're going to Stalybridge for a bite to eat, and then back into Manchester, and maybe a few pints.
Can we ask your motivation for travelling from Stockport to Stalybridge at 9:22 on a Friday morning?
Just purely out of interest. I think they call us the parliamentary train, don't they? So I've wanted to do it for some time, but it's the first opportunity I've had.
Hello. I don't suppose you're commuting from Stockport to Stalybridge?
No, I've come up from London. I'm off to an exhibition and conference which is being held in Ashton-under-Lyne.
Yeah.
It was just a case of typing into the National Rail website, and then it told me this was the way to go. So.
Wow, that's incredible! You're an actual proper passenger. You typed into the website and
that's right. Yeah. So it just said change at Stockport, and along came this train.
Perhaps the whole internet kind of wobbles and went, ooh.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Have you any idea how you're going to get back?
Not yet.
You're not going to catch this train, allow me to assure you.
Really? Okay.
No, because there isn't a return journey.
Crikey.
Next station is Stockport Stalybridge, where the service terminates this morning.
We're there. We've achieved our modest aim.
Stalybridge, our final destination. Hold you.
It's 10 to 10, according to my Swiss railway watch, and it's taken us half an hour to get to the really rather lovely station at Stalybridge.
The train now standing at platform 3 is not in public service. Please do not board this train.
That's the train we've just come in on. And it said it's not in public service, even while we were on it. This is the Stalybridge buffet bar. So I suppose we should, since we're in Stalybridge, it would be rude, even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning, 5 past 10 in the morning, not to give it a go, really. And it's a lovely thing. And here are our fellow passengers from the Stockport Stalybridge. Wait, is it open?
Just about, yes, yeah.
Oh.
They don't serve there until 11 o'clock.
That's the story of my life, so I suppose we'll have to have some coffee. I think the people who are catching this train are heroic, because they don't really want to go from Stockport to Stalybridge. They believe that there's a point in keeping this service open. We met a chap who was a friend of Reddish South Station. We met another chap who was a friend of Denton Station. They didn't talk to one another. I didn't get the impression that the friends of Reddish South Station and the friends of Denton Station were friends, but I suspect they might be allies, a sort of entente cordiale. They're heroes. They're out there fighting for something which seems to me important, which is to try and keep train lines open if people want to use them, and keep cars off the road, and stop having to go into the middle of Manchester to get from Stockport to Stalybridge, or more importantly from the west of England and Wales up into Yorkshire. On the other hand, you could argue that they're just line bashers. Essentially, they're people who want to tick off that they've been on every possible train. It's a kind of weird bloke collecting. There were no women on that train, and I can't imagine there've been women on that train for a very long time. Denton and Reddish South, with their one train a week in one direction, are among the least used stations in Britain. But according to the statistics, there's a station with even fewer passengers. The least used station in Britain is Teesside Airport, with 44 people either buying a ticket to it or from it in 2008. I caught the single...